The U.S. has proclaimed itself as a beacon of human rights. However, the country's ethnic minorities have been agonizing over racism, discrimination, as well as abuses of fundamental human rights. In 2020, unarmed African-American George Floyd died under the knee of a white police officer. The 46-year-old's death sparked massive demonstrations across the U.S. against police brutality and systemic racism. But things haven't changed much.
The case of the shooting of Jacob Blake, which is, I think, a painful reminder of how African Americans continue to be exposed to differentiated and heightened risk when engaging with law enforcement bodies in the United States.
According to data from Mapping Police Violence, police in the United States shoot and kill over 1,000 people each year, and African Americans are victims at a disproportionate rate. It showed that African Americans are nearly 3 times more likely to be shot and killed by law enforcement than their white counterparts.
Police, they love to interrogate black people, but I think they target us a lot more than anybody else. There's a lot of injustice for black people.
It's essentially, hatred of the other. The other. Who is the other? The other is anyone who's non-white. Amongst the adults, many of the cases are related to white racism, white supremacy.
Besides violence against people of color, pre-existing racial and ethnic inequalities have hindered access to equitable services, resources, and opportunities.
Those who are better schools in the United States are still predominantly white.
Blacks are on the receiving end for many of the ills facing America. They continue to suffer the social and economic and even political challenges in America. They continue to be downtrodden, as it were.
The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has further aggravated the predicament of ethnic minorities. Among over 1 million lives lost to the coronavirus, communities of color were hit hardest due to failed access to health insurance and vaccines.
After COVID-19 exposed it all due to the inequalities in the caregiving, in the medication, in the deaths of different races, then the U.S. now has been exposed as a racist society.
التمييز العنصري الممارس بالولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، رغم أنه النصوص ألغت هذا الموضوع، نصوص القوانين ألغت هذا الموضوع، ولكن فعليا بالتطبيق ما زال ممارس ويطبق على أصحاب البشرة الملونة على امتداد ولايات أمريكا.
Some say that enjoying human rights in the U.S. has a precondition: being white. When the U.S. Declaration of Independence was drafted in 1776, Thomas Jefferson and his fellow authors literally meant that only the white males were entitled to equality and rights, as they penned down the words, "All men are created equal."
All men are created equal. This sentence, which is in the Declaration of Independence, was a lie and is a lie today. We know white Americans are still richer, healthier, and more privileged than black people. And so-called structural racism serves as a basis for America's white elite to maintain their power.
مدى التزام مدى تطبيق حقوق الإنسان بالمجتمع الأمريكي، رغم أنه الدولة الأمريكية تحمل شعار حقوق الإنسان، ولكن نجد أنه هيدي الحقوق تنتهك يوميا بالولايات المتحدة، وخاصة بطريقة التعاطي مع أصحاب البشرة الملونة.
A Gallup poll in 2021 found that as much as 64% of adults in the U.S. believe that racism against African Americans is widespread in the nation. For many of the minority communities, the American dream has been turned into a nightmare. People who lost their loved ones to racism-related violence or those who live in fear because of their skin color are hoping for a change that they don't see happening anytime soon.
No one should have privilege. No one should have a membership to equality. Equality is a birthright. It's not an option. And for 400 years, it has been an option for brown and black people.
Racism is still rooted in the social structure and in the DNA of the United States of America.